Good morning, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to another edition of Breaking News. Today is Monday, the 28th day of April, 2025. And as always, the headlines that keep on coming. So let's look at them. First one is rather profound. Donald Trump says he expects the Iran talks will yield a deal. This is from the Times of Israel. I'll talk about exactly what he said. Now, on the contrary, amid U.S. Iran talks, Netanyahu said Iran's entire nuclear program must go. Something he's been saying consistently for years. It's from the Jerusalem Post, and we'll look at it. Khamenei is ordering a probe into the deadly explosion of the key Iranian port. Israel National News. He's wondering how this accident happened, and so they're looking into it. For the first time, Little Rocket Man in North Korea admits sending troops to fight for Russia in Ukraine. And the conclave to ponder whether to continue Pope Francis' radical legacy or change course will soon take place. All right. Also, too, we keep telling you we would have the second half of our Your Bible questions answered with respect to the question, do we need an infallible interpreter to understand the Bible? We did part one a couple of days ago, and I keep promising part two. Hopefully, I'll get it done today. The last 5 days I've been had to go out of town and do all sorts of stuff, driving here and there, and just haven't had the time to do it. Today and this week I'm fine. I don't have to do anything. So we hopefully will get it to you today, as well as release a number of other episodes of Your Bible Questions Answered, and think that'll be very, very helpful. All right, let's look at the headlines. This first one is quite profound. Trump says he expects Iran talks will yield a deal. He says we will have something without having to start dropping bombs. These are his exact words. We will have something without having to start dropping bombs. Now, statements like this continue to worry Israel. Why make a deal with the devil when you know the devil won't keep his part of the bargain? Again, we will have to wait and see what happens, but this is a statement he made yesterday, and it's, again, as you can imagine, very much bothering the people of Israel. Headline number two. Amidst the U.S. and Iran talks, Netanyahu says Iran's entire nuclear program must go. From the Jerusalem Post. Israeli officials have long vowed to prevent Tehran from acquiring nuclear weapons, an assertion Netanyahu repeated. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Sunday he had repeated calls for Iran's entire nuclear infrastructure to be dismantled as Washington and Tehran engage in talks for a nuclear accord. The United States and Iran have so far held 3 rounds of indirect talks mediated by Gulf state Oman, aimed at sealing a deal that would block Tehran from acquiring a nuclear weapon, but also lift crippling economic sanctions imposed by Washington. After talks in Rome earlier this month, Oman said that the U.S. and Israel were pursuing an accord that would see Tehran completely free of nuclear weapons and sanctions, but maintaining its ability to develop peaceful nuclear energy. Netanyahu said the only good deal would be one that removed all of the infrastructure akin to the 2003 agreement that Libya made with the West, which sought to give up its nuclear, chemical, biological, and missile programs. Israeli officials have long vowed to prevent Tehran from acquiring nuclear weapons, an assertion Netanyahu repeated. Okay, so bottom line is this. Israel and Netanyahu have been consistent throughout the years about Iran's nuclear program, seeing that the Iranians were not hiding the fact that they wanted to make bombs that would first destroy Israel and another one that would destroy the United States of America. This is one of many reasons why the people in Israel are scratching their heads about Trump's statements about a deal. Again, we will wait and see. Now, with respect to this deadly explosion that took place on Saturday, headline number three from Israel National News, Khamenei orders a probe into deadly explosion at key Iranian port. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei calls for a full investigation to Saturday's blast at Shahid Raji port that killed 40 and injured over 1,000. He directed officials to launch this comprehensive investigation. This port is located near the critical Strait of Hormuz. The blast claimed at least 40 lives, they're adding to the number there, and injured more than 1,000. Security and judicial officials are obliged to thoroughly investigate, uncover any negligence or intent, and follow up in accordance with regulations, Khamenei said, according to remarks aired by state television and quoted by AFP. Following the disaster, President Masoud Pezeshkian visited the stricken site where fires continue to rage more than a day later. The Iranian government has declared 3 days of mourning following the disaster. As thick smoke blanketed the region, authorities ordered the closure of all educational institutions and government offices in Bandar Abbas, the provincial capital of Hormozgan, I guess that's the area, to prioritize emergency efforts. The health ministry urged residents to remain indoors and to wear protective masks. The accident that took place on Saturday, and this is our comment now, was very fortunate for Israel, seeing that the rocket fuel from China was destroyed. And again, without fuel, the rockets can't fly. So let's look for more accidents to happen in the coming days and weeks that will strike the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Even without direct bombing from the U.S. or Israel, this will hamper their program to destroy Israel and eventually the U.S. We mentioned, like we said about 3 weeks ago, that this was going to happen. There would be accidents that would take place as far as the IRGC is concerned, the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps, because they are a very powerful, well-trained, well-disciplined unit, and they are the heart and soul of Iran's military, and that. So they need to be neutralized to some degree, and that's what's going on here with these accidents. And again, we expect more to come. Now, here's an interesting one. We've alluded to this before. For the first time, North Korea admits sending troops to fight for Russia in Ukraine. This is from Israel National News. North Korea officially confirms it's deployed soldiers to aid Russia in Ukraine following Little Rocket Man's orders. North Korea officially acknowledged on Monday that it's dispatched military forces to assist Russia in the conflict following a direct order from the leader, Little Rocket Man. This is from Reuters. According to the regime, these forces played a pivotal role in reclaiming Russian territory previously held by Ukrainian forces. Citing the ruling Workers' Party, North Korea's official KCNA news agency reported that the successful conclusion of operations in Russia's Kursk region exemplified the highest strategic level, now get this, of the firm militant friendship between Pyongyang and Moscow. Last week, Russia announced it had expelled Ukrainian troops in the final village under Kiev's control in Kursk, though Ukrainian officials disputed the claim, insisting their forces remain active in the neighboring Belgorod. So they're fighting back and forth, obviously, and one's claiming victory here, one claiming victory over there. All right. North Korea's Central Military Commission stated that Little Rocket Man's decision to deploy troops was made under the framework of the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Treaty he signed with Russian President Vladimir Putin in 2024. KCNA also emphasized Pyongyang's pride in the relationship with Moscow, stating that North Korea regards it as an honor, get this, an honor to have an alliance with such a powerful state as the Russian Federation. So what we have here is Russia and North Korea are teaming up to fight the Western world per their partnership that they have signed. Now, we've talked about a similar partnership that Russia has signed with Iran. While North Korea, like China, is not specified as a player in last day's Bible prophecy, Iran certainly is. As to why China is not, I want you to see our book, 45 Common Mistakes About Last Day's Bible Prophecy Cleared Up. It's mistakes 27, 28, 29, and 30. Let me read them to you, what we deal with. We say there are 4 common mistakes made when Revelation chapter 9, the 200 million man army, is equated with Revelation chapter 16, Armageddon. 4 common mistakes are made when these two are equated. First, the 200 million man army should not be understood as a literal human army. We talk about that. From the context, it's clearly speaking of a demonic army. Second, the 200 million man army mentioned in Revelation 9 is not referring to the campaign of Armageddon recorded in Revelation 16, which is speaking, that one's a literal army. Third, therefore, it follows that the kings of the East, referenced in Revelation 16:12, cannot be equated with the 200 million man army. And finally, the 4th mistake is equating the East in John's day with a reference to the Far East, namely China and Japan. There was no mention of that, and that is not what they were referring to in the East. The East, on the eastern border of the Roman Empire, was another empire called Parthia, and they had fights with struggles with Rome at that time. So East in John's day was that. Again, the book is a free download from our website, Educating Our World, under the heading of Bible Prophecy. It's called 45 Common Mistakes About Last Day's Bible Prophecy Cleared Up. It's soon going to be called 50 Common Mistakes, as I'm adding 5 more. And so we see again North Korea being a problem with, in the United States. Remember, in Trump's first administration, had a real problem with them. In fact, when they tested that rocket, if you recall what happened, they did a test rocket with a dummy nuclear warhead, the same size and weight that a genuine nuclear warhead would have, and it flew 6,000 miles, enough to hit the east coast of the United States. And Little Rocket Man was told by Trump, you stop doing that. You stop doing these test flights with these intercontinental ballistic missiles, or we'll reduce your little island to a cinder. And so Little Rocket Man complied. And so I guess Trump put him on probation. What's he going to do now? Because he's working with Russia. Who knows? Maybe he'll put him on double secret probation. Anyway, we'll see what takes place there. Okay, headline number 5, Conclave to ponder whether to continue Pope Francis' radical legacy or change course. This is from the Times of Israel. The late church leader appointed cardinals from a broad range of backgrounds, many of whom are unknown to each other. Unclear if it has any clear packet of votes to become the next pontiff. Now, this is the first time this has ever happened. It's so open. Usually they have these, when a pope dies, the next one is, there's only a list of a few who are possible candidates. Well, now it's wide open. I'll listen to this article. This is from the AP in Vatican City. One of Pope Francis' enduring legacies was that he greatly expanded the diversity of cardinals who would elect his successor, naming princes of the church from faraway countries that had never had one before. The legacy is now throwing a wrench into the traditional sport of speculating about the next pope, since these far-flung cardinals don't know one another well and haven't coalesced into clear voting blocks going into the conclave, the centuries-old ritual to elect a new pope. As a result, all that is certain about the upcoming conclave is that there is no certainty. As the Oscar-nominated film Conclave made clear, the election of a pope is a Hollywood-worthy drama steeped in mystery, secrecy, and faith. But the real-world politics and personal calculations come into play and will weigh on the 130-plus cardinals when they enter the Sistine Chapel to cast their ballots. So the question is, what will the cardinals be looking for? No date has yet been set for the conclave, but it must start by May 10th. Following Francis' funeral, the cardinals who have flocked to Rome will meet regularly this week, sizing up one another as they discuss the needs of 1.4 billion strong Catholics following Francis' revolutionary papacy. Francis's 12-year pontificate was characterized by a focus away from the doctrinaire rules to making the church more inclusive and welcoming. In other words, became gigantically woke. For progressives, it was a refocusing of mission back to the gospel's mandate to care for the poor people and feed the hungry. For conservatives, Francis sowed confusion by introducing wiggle room and hot-button cultural issues such as the church teaching on marriage and homosexuality. As a result, the cardinals face a fundamental decision when looking for a successor. Does the church need someone to continue Francis' legacy, focusing on the marginalized as Jesus did? Or does it need a course correction to rebuild unity after Francis' radical reforms alienated some? Well, Francis' radical reforms were setting the stage for the final Antichrist and the globalistic world the Bible has predicted will be the norm in the last days. What will this next pope do? It's going to be really interesting to see. Now, one of our 25 signs that are near the end is globalism. This is the world that is coming, world without borders, world that the final Antichrist and his cohort, the false prophet, will take over. Now, there'll be groups. There'll be a 10-nation confederation in Europe. We know that. But basically, it'll be a globalistic world, and it'll be a world where they will deny human rights. It'll deny the haves will have it and the have-nots won't. And this is what's coming. He will rule with an iron fist through his cohort, the false prophet. So this Pope Francis has really been setting the stage for this in the last 4 years with the Roman Catholic Church. Will it continue to go on? And that's a question we don't know the answer to. We will have to wait and see, like all these issues about the deal with Iran and Israel, about if Iran will have more accidents, about North Korea becoming involved with Russia. Was Russia really do they really want to have a ceasefire with Ukraine? So a lot going on. We'll keep an eye on this, but it's all setting the stage for precisely what the Bible said is going to happen at the end of the age. The players are lining up in the right places, and when God's timing is there, then it'll all come to pass. In the meantime, we're keeping you informed each day here. So thank you for watching the program, telling others about it, and taking advantage of our free resources. I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching. Until next time, as always, may the Lord richly, richly bless.